All right, Ez. Well, okay, this is a little special video. This is actually sort of a spin-off of a segment we do in every episode of our podcast. All right, it's called Droppin' Eaves, or as I'd like to propose a rename of Droppin' Drawers.
Wow.
Would that be better? Would that be more on point? And hopefully it's not going to go very long.
Wow.
Kind of not what I meant. But I'm thinking that maybe if you go to Riddles in the Dark from our latest episode, I think maybe Ez sort of saw something in the future. He saw something coming. Dude. Anyway, to get off. No. Don't
Come on
say it
now.
Gosh, Amazon.
Come on.
Oh, you're in my head, dude. Okay, anyway.
Wow.
There has been breaking news. Well, is it breaking news? We're going to find out.
Right.
Is it really breaking news? I don't know, because you know who's reporting this news? The one clickbait.net. And then who's running with it? Every news source that covers this type of thing. Yep. I want to make something perfectly clear here. Okay?
Come on.
All right? The one clickbait.net is a fan club. It is not a news source.
Right.
Okay? They are not reporters. All right? They are a fan club. And I think they're a little upset that they're not getting that invitation into the kitchen. But let's play ball here, Ez. Okay?
All right, let's go.
Let's play ball. Because this story has blown up. It was on Yahoo Movie News. It was on all these reputable websites. Of course, they are quoting the one clickbait.net. If you don't know who that is, go to one of our previous videos. You'll be able to figure it out.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Here's the big story. Here's the headline, Ez. Lord of the Rings, Amazon's Lord of the Rings show to have Game of Thrones-esque sex scenes, sex content.
Right.
That's the headline. All right. Now, when you actually read the article, here's what we got. Okay.
Right.
We have that there has been a casting call for extras in New Zealand who are comfortable with nudity. Okay.
Comfortable with it. Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it. Every morning I take a shower and I'm
Sure.
nude then, and I put my clothes on, of course, right. But comfortable with nudity seems like a far cry from sex on screen. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Now.
But
okay,
that's okay. All right. Okay. And then the other little nugget of reporting that's been done is that an intimacy coach has been hired. Okay. So she is a well-known New Zealand intimacy coordinator. Jennifer Ward Leland. Okay. And the one clickbait.net can confirm this. They don't say how. They just say that they can confirm it. Okay. Right. So I have a couple different feelings about this, man. All right. I'm going to do one. Okay. I'm going to pretend this is real. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that this is real. I'm going to assume that this story is legit how it's going down. All right. If this show is on the edge of a knife right now, if this is either way, stray but a little,
right,
and it will fail to the ruin of all of us.
Come on.
If this is true, I'm disappointed. If this show has gratuitous sex in it, I'm upset about that. Yep. Now, Lane, come on. You're being too conservative. You're being too old school. Everybody's naked on TV now. Every good show has sex scenes. Okay, except no. Not every good film, not every good show has sex and has nudity. And I'll tell you the thing that frustrates me most, okay? And this is ultimately where I'm driving to, is that as a 13-year-old, 12-year-old boy, however old I was when I saw Fellowship of the Ring, that would have been a major disappointment to me. That would have been a huge turnoff to me. Had I even been allowed to see the movie at all, which I wouldn't have been.
Right.
And you and I have been talking so much about kids accessing Middle-earth, right? Like as young as kids who get into The Hobbit, like grade school. Right. This show has that kind of aspect or that tone, even for a couple episodes. And it's literally like, okay, all right, let's put it in Star Wars terms, okay? I'll talk Star Wars with you. Yep. Right? If that's true, then this show is the Anakin to the younglings of Middle-earth. He's just killing them. They're just mowing them down, all right? You're keeping an entire generation of youth from getting into another area of Middle Earth and Tolkien. Aside from me just not wanting to see any of that, I don't need to see it, man. Okay, like it does a couple different things, right? It makes me think that you think I need to see that. All right, you're producing TV shows, you're producing high quality Tolkien content, and you think, man, Lane, you know what Lane needs?
Right.
He really needs some boobies and some butts, and he needs to see them all just kind of mashed up, and because he doesn't get a lot of that. Okay, he doesn't know. I got kids to prove it, Ez. I got kids to prove it. Right. I'm getting more than enough.
Hey,
all that I want.
You don't.
Wonderful.
Hey,
that
you
is
don't
one
need.
area of my life.
You don't need an intimacy coordinator. All right, let me tell you right now.
That is one area of my life where I know where to go to fill that need, and it's not to a TV show. Okay, it's not to a TV show. And I think most people are like that. I think most people, however that aspect of your life is addressed, I think most people don't want to go to Middle Earth for it. I don't think it's what Middle Earth needs. Other shows might, and that's fine. Go to those other universes for it. See how nice I'm being? I'm not even being that mean. I was planning on being really mean in this video.
I know.
But Middle Earth, there has been a precedent where that's not where you come for that sort of material. All right, that aspect, that edge, or whatever you want to call it, that's Melkor stuff. All right, that's been banished to the void.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Can stuff be applied? Yeah, sure. Can that stuff be applied? Now I'm looking at all these articles too, and it's talking about all this intimacy and sexual, carnal nudity. The words are very triggering, first of all, which is hilarious. I wonder if maybe they want some attention. That's not obvious, right? Mm-hmm. And then all the images are hilarious because it's showing the precedent, right? The precedent has been, man, wow, okay. Aragorn and Arwen, they're getting some tongue, man. They're doing some French kissing. Wow, cover your eyes, kids. That's as I don't know, whatever. As what is the word I'm looking for? That's as provocative. There you go. That's as provocative as Middle Earth gets. That's what we're used to. That's what we're comfortable with. It's not about that. It's about fighting great enemies, good overcoming evil. That's the focus, not booty calls. All right?
Right.
Now, I think that's not what's going to happen. I don't think that this is what's going to happen. I think this, after talking to you, I think this is just yet another ploy for attention from the estranged child who no longer has invitations and gets the big tickets and gets the sideline, courtside seats. And I think that, because here's what I'm thinking. Intimacy coordinator could be a lot of different things, man. All right? Sure. Yeah. Maybe they have actors who don't know how to touch and show affection. I don't know. Legit. Maybe they do. Maybe that's an issue. Yeah. If you are on the spectrum, that's a difficulty for you. You would need coaching on how to do that. We've seen that this is a diverse group of actors that's being hired. We don't know what they're, whatever. So I have no idea what that means. And also nudity. Maybe over in Valinor, elves are running around naked. That's fine. Maybe it's an Eden, utopian kind of existence. And that's the nudity aspect, right? Sure. If you want to get technical, let's go ahead. We talked about this. There's nudity in The Hobbit.
Yep.
There's nudity in an unexpected adventure, unexpected journey. Wow. Cut that out. I can't believe I messed that up. The dwarves swimming in a bird bath, a fountain in Rivendell, butt naked. Okay?
Right. There is. Well, there is even when there's a vague mention of it in Crick Hollow Cottage, right?
Yeah, man, get in a shower, right?
It's a couple places where they're running around through whatever. After the Barrow Downs, they're running around and stuff like that. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, when I used to open my Bible, the cherubims, were right there. And it's if that's the kind of nudity we're talking about, all right. I mean, it's almost like a pureness, right? I mean,
yes,
a time when we were, before or without sin type of situation. I don't know that it's I'm with you. I'm not seeing a major sex scene take place or some that's not what's happening. And so it's yeah, maybe they did hire an intimacy coordinator, and maybe there's going to be some butt cheeks or whatever, you know, like in Valinor, who knows, or on Numenor, but like putting those two together and then coming up with real intimate, you know, I don't know, just situations like intercourse or hinted at or you know, like that's too far. I don't think there's no way that's happening. There's just no way that is happening, and that's not going to fly. So you're putting two things together, and you know who we're talking about here. They're putting this little thing and this little thing together, and you're talking about background actors. By the way, you're not hiring an intimacy coordinator for background actors. Am I wrong about like?
No.
Right? I mean, that's not. I don't think that is what you would be doing. Why would this coordinator be working with? That is mind blowing to me. So people need to remember that. I think. And also, people need to remember that, like, the source and the person who brought this information to the OneRing.net is literally just a follower and someone who's found something on Twitter and who went to a casting call page, and now you've got different places, you know, outlets taking this up and going crazy with it. Now, I will say I mean, they, you know, in their article, they say this would be outrageous. This would be crazy. There's no reason to do this. If Amazon's doing this, then the cake's bad. We need to all go crazy about the cake, right? I mean, that's the other thing. But it's not. I don't think I wouldn't put that together. I would be absolutely shocked that just would never come to the forefront unless maybe I wanted to. I don't know. Make a scene. I don't know.
Get some clickbait. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like what we're seeing, the evidence that we're seeing, that again is just someone who's a follower of theirs putting this together. That information versus the headline that's being plastered everywhere.
Yeah,
there's almost no relationship between the two. The only relationship is that there's intimacy and nudity here.
Right. That's
it. That's the only relationship. Okay, so. I see it as something that's it's a little far-fetched, that's being run with. And I go back to this, all right? Previous sort of attacks or questions about the production and what's going on have been directed at two showrunners, predominantly, right? Yes. And that there must be something wrong with them.
Yes.
Okay? Now, what we've seen from them has been only the contrary, that they honor the work of Tolkien, that they respect the world of Middle-earth, and that they themselves are fans, okay? Mm-hmm. You and I did some research because we were like, you know what, maybe there is some sort of like, maybe there's orgies in the first stage that we just are unaware of, we've never read about, right?
Right.
There is not. Tolkien, who was, and if people are going to say, Lane, come on, he didn't project himself. I don't care what anyone says. An author leaves a trace of themselves in their work. They are a person, and part of that comes out in the way that they work. Tolkien was a devout Catholic, okay? Yeah. Catholics would be very uncomfortable with orgies and nude scenes in a story, in a TV show, whatever. That's not how he rolled. Like romance, yes. Passionate love, yes. Devotion, yes. Even incest on occasion, yes. All right? Because he also did love, you know, ancient mythology and these great stories, like we talked about Oedipus Rex, right? And the Oedipus complex, and accidentally falling in love with your mom and not really realizing. We talked about how there's an element of that with Turin and his sister in the Children of Hurin, right? Like falls in love with her, doesn't know that she's his sister. Okay, but that's different from what they're proposing here, and that's like really the only evidence we found. So if it is. I think it's kind of, well, what I was going with that is these two showrunners who know this world and love this world and respect this world. If you feel that way about Middle-earth, I don't see how a show you're running, you all of a sudden say, yeah, you know what, let's get Game of Thrones with it, man. Let's just throw in some big old sex scenes. Let's see if them actors are good with taking them things out, moving them around. Right. Like, let's just go for shock value. We haven't seen sex in Middle-earth, and I'm real curious, y'all. I don't see it happening, especially when this is this is not a handful of people, you know, in comparison, get a shot in Middle-earth to create something in Middle-earth. Why would you throw that away? Why would you do something that you know is going to upset so many fans and ruin that chance? So we also talked about this might be one of them testing the water situations, right? Where you say it happens in the Star Wars universe all the time. They circulate a ridiculous idea, see how fans react, and use it as kind of like they're a test audience in a sense, right?
Right.
You test the market to see, okay, how are Tolkien fans now? Would they dig some nudity? Could we also pull in some Game of Thrones diehards who don't mind that so much and are Tolkien friends? Or is this going to be something that's polarizing and will lose our majority of Tolkien fans? Because what the response I've seen is majority of people are like, no, come on. Like,
No,
nah,
it's not-
we don't
right.
need that.
Right.
We don't need that. So it's not just you and me getting up here feeling old-fashioned. It's a lot of people. And it's a lot of people who found this as kids and they're thinking, dude, no way. I have kids now. This is going to be their Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And if you see something like that, you're like, oh, dang. Oh, dang. Like, and I don't see Payne and McKay wanting to create that kind of a re-entry point into Middle Earth. I just don't see it. Now, if it is true, man, if it is true, I'll entertain that idea. I know why Tom Shippey left.
Yeah.
And I know why there's been drama behind the scenes there, supposedly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Supposedly,
Tom Shippey's another one who's a guardian of the Tolkien estate who something like this, I would see him just like saying, absolutely not. I'm washing my hands. You guys can do it. If you found a loophole in the contract, some liberty you want to take, but I'm out. So I guess it almost feels like someone is painting some sort of story here and some sort of narrative that they want us to follow that might not really be reality. There might be aspects of reality that are augmented or distorted that are designed for us to go, okay, these guys really know what they're talking about, do they? Huh?
Right, some unnamed. So here's the thing, like you said, it's a couple things. It could just be they put these two random, which is what they try to do, which is to find the most really ridiculous. One of the things I had to laugh about was we went through a closure, like the pandemic hits, right, and writers are out of work. No kidding. Right, like they were on Twitter and they said that like they're looking for jobs, they're out of work. Well, they also were going on a scheduled hiatus. Like some of the things that they fail to emphasize. Right, you have a job,
and when you're a writer, as
that.
Yes, and I'm sure as a writer, you're working on one project, and then you get a break. You might be picking up another project.
Absolutely,
you're not doing just one thing. No. Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So there's that. There's this idea that maybe they're putting these two pieces together. They're looking for more information, or they're looking for what do you call it? Clicks. Right. And then so if they're not doing that, then it's. I don't know. Well, like you said, maybe it's some leak or whatever, and this is the monster or the beast that you use to see. Let's test the waters with the fandom. Let's put something out there. But here's the problem I have with that. I went and looked, and I was like, man, this was not something that was like some, real like big leak reveal. It was like you had to scrape and put. I mean, you had yarn going across like the room to make this connection. It wasn't like real obvious. So it's not like what I say in Star Wars sometimes where there's like an obvious kind of like, let that casting agency, let that little tidbit out or whatever, and let's see what the fans think about it. This was sort of like not obvious. I mean, this was like you really had to put some stuff together unless you're going to go with the direct sort of like they have an insider who's telling them, something or whatever, and that they're the testing ground for the fandom, which is scary by the way. So I just keep that.
Yeah, it would be frightening.
Because there's no reason to get all up in the other thing is no one actually thinks that they're going to go Game of Thrones style on this and it's going to be every episode there's some sex or some nudity. Like there might be one scene, like if it's the fall of Numenor and there are people who are drowning, and going into the water with the water tanks, are talked about, the accident that possibly happened, like maybe there's some like a nudity, half nude situation there or something, or who knows what else it could be. But I don't think putting the two together, it works. I also think you have an interesting, depending on which king of Numenor we focus on, they had interesting relationships with their spouse. And others, and you might want to do some work with that, or interesting dynamics between elves and men. I don't know. I think that could be another reason to have those folks or a coordinator, who deals in intimacy.
Yeah.
And again, you could take it, intimacy as far as like how intimate are we going to be, and what's the level of intimacy that we're talking about here? That's the whole other thing.
Yes, I mean, because you could argue. I mean, dude, I'll go ahead and I'll say it. Those scenes with Aragorn and Arwen are hot, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's some hot, intimate scenes where it seems, jeez, clothes.
Wow. You're thinking about clothes.
No clothes. Where
seamless.
Like, as a teenage boy, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm ready to find my Arwen. Let's go. And she's upstairs in bed right now. You know what I'm saying? And she's Goldberry, which is even better.
Let's
and
go.
It's just,
yeah.
But those are intimate scenes. Those are intimate scenes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think an intimacy coordinator would be needed for like just scenes that depict an actual legit kiss, like a beautiful embrace, right? I mean, I guess I don't know. I need to look into actually what the description of an intimacy coordinator is, but I'm sure it's a lot of things. And again, scraping the barrel with the whole nudity, intimacy. Oh, well, they must be going Game of Thrones. And I think another reason too is because Cogman is involved. Brian Cogman is involved with the development of the show, and that's another piece that they're taking in CNC. See, look, they're going Game of Thrones. They got Cogman, they got an intimacy coordinator, they got background actors with nudity. They're going to have orgies. That's what they're going to do. You're going to see elves, willies everywhere, and it's going to be a mess. And it's going to take a crap on Tolkien and our world, and it's going to try and turn it into Game of Thrones. And at first, I allowed that to trigger me. I was like, I don't want that. There's no way. And then I took a second. I was like, wait, where is this coming from again? Because I saw it from another news source at first. Then I was like, oh, it's them again. Right. And then I realized, oh, okay, well, they're, again, taking these points that are very far away and putting them all right together and saying, they're trying to predict the future, and they're doing a poor job of it because they're not getting any real information. And so I got curious. I went onto the onering.net, and I went to their About section, and I looked to see how they got started, okay? And it's fascinating, dude. Bert, Bill, and Tom. They're trolls. Mic drop. Mic drop, as mic drop. They're a bunch of trolls. They want clicks. They want you to go follow them instead of anything LOTR on Prime is doing. And you know what? Based on some of the reaction tweets I saw from the two showrunners, they're onto it. They know it, and they're a little disgusted by it, honestly. And so I'm going to side with them because they're the dudes who got the job. They're the guys who seem to be putting together this amazing cast, amazing team. We're going to talk more about later in another video about like pictures of the actresses that are down there and pictures of the actors who they are back. They are in New Zealand, confirmed. Like we went to their Instagrams and boom, there it is. They're on the South Island taking pictures of each other by frozen braided rivers in the brown rolling hills. Like that's where they are. We're back, baby.
Right.
So I don't know. They're putting together this great team. They're spending money on it. They're doing it in New Zealand. They held out to do it in New Zealand. I don't. Yeah. Is Gino Acevedo there working on prosthetics? I don't know. He's in New Zealand and he doesn't live there. So you tell me.
Right.
I just don't see them. It doesn't make any sense. And every time they've come out with a story that's red flags. Oh, warning. This show, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It reeks of pay attention to us. And then there's this underlying of we're hurt because we're not included in the same way that Peter Jackson included us. We're not being invited to set. Well, we don't have any real information. So we've got to conjure up these stories.
Right.
It sounds like Saruman stuff, honestly.
It really does. One more thing here. So, a lot of what you see a trend, which is negativity. Like you see the reoccurring theme actually is that let's look for something that might be undermining and that might cause or that might be a signal that there's chaos or there's something going on. And I just don't like to look at a project that way, especially when it's so like the evidence for that and those little tidbits that they're looking for are, I mean, oh my God, it's
grasping at straws.
Yeah, that's I guess the only way to put it. I don't know what they're seeing.
Maybe they're the ones who want these sex scenes. Maybe they want to be grasping at straws. I don't know, bro.
I don't know either. I don't either. But
it's not for me to say. But it's just strange. It's strange. That's all.
No, it's Ranger Things, man. It's just,
Ranger Things. It's
no, unfortunately, it's not Ranger Things. It is actually Stranger Things. So my gosh.
Well, I mean, we'll just have to wait to see what happens, but we're going to keep our clothes on. Dang it, dude. It's happening. All these like phrases that should not be, they just keep coming out. Dang it. Anyway, my real thing is, did you predict this happening when you saw all that sperm during Riddles in the Dark?
Oh,
that was kind of crazy timing, wasn't it?
Go check that riddle out, guys.
The fact that you saw sperm in Riddles in the Dark, and a couple days later, it seems that we're getting a show that's full of sex and orgies and all kinds of rampant carnal desire.
Oh my God! It's our roast mutton episode. We're covering there in the Hobbit. We're doing some riddles at the end, and yeah, it totally fits. I don't know how that happened, but again, it's paralleling.
You're seeing
what's
into
going
the
on.
future, man.
Yeah.
You're seeing into the future. I'm scared. It had to be something with you taking over Dropping Eve's last episode.
Probably.
There's a connection there.
Yeah, it probably is.
There's a connection.
So, all right. Well, friends, that was fun. That was interesting.
That was fun. I feel better. I feel better now.
You gotta get it off your chest, right? So, yeah, leave us a comment down below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I kind of want to know. I want to know what people think. Are we ridiculous here? Yes, we know that. But go take a look. I mean, if you want to, go look at the article, and actually look and see what they're quoting, what their sources are, because it's just. I don't know. It's minuscule. So I think everyone needs to calm down a little bit. If we're wrong and this is ridiculous, then we'll join in with everybody else and we'll throw our hands up and say this is crazy, because it's not right and it shouldn't be happening in this TV show. So that's that. So look, I'm losing my words. I can't even. It got me at a loss of words. I'm so upset.
Well, when you can't talk, you should just take your clothes off, man. So let's just gosh,
get that out of your mind.
Well, the one clickbait.net, man, you're filthy. You're deceivers.
Get that out of your mind.
Well, as you know what they say, there's only one person who knows, and that's Bilbo. Tell him, Ez.
Hey guys, the guy who knows. Bilbo knows.
Bilbo knows.